I'm just going to hit the tops of this just to break that edge. Like I said, they can get pretty sharp. This is just a regular old file, metal file or whatever, but works on laminate. I'm going this way and not this way because you can possibly chip that if you go the wrong way. And you got to watch your ends here too when you got a piece overlapping. I could chip a piece right here if I'm not careful. So. There, see, now I can run my finger across there and it won't cut me. They will. They're like razors, man. They'll cut you before you file that. Now what you want to do is just file that to where your fingernail doesn't catch it. You don't want to go so far because you can actually file into the color of that Formica, and usually it's like white underneath them. I don't know what it is on this old stuff. Usually that's what it is. So and now that's still real sharp, but see, I can do that with my fingernail and it's not catching, so then you know you got it flush. Then you just come along at like a 45-degree angle and take off that sharp edge. And you can go down about as far as you want. But to me, that's enough. I'm going to keep turning it like this because I'm right-handed, and that's what's comfortable for me. So. Now I am kind of holding it at an angle, but I do kind of just barely kind of come down and touch that flat. Again, not trying to eat onto this. This old stuff is a lot better though. It's a lot easier. That newer stuff, see, it's this top color layer is a lot of times a lot thinner than the old stuff, and you can burn through pretty easily. Take an old piece of t-shirt rag here and some lacquer thinner and clean up some of the glue got left behind. Alright, well, I put a couple of pieces of 2-inch masking tape on each side, and I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm just lining the edge of my paper up with this, and you know, I don't know, so that looks good enough to me. I think that way people won't, you know, two people won't be too crowded. I don't know where to do it. That's enough for your hands. I'm not going to use this hole. I'm going to use this one right here. They have another one right there. That's a little bit farther away. I'm going to use that one. This is of course going to be this, when I transfer it over here, is going to be over here. So I will measure from here to here. This is the furthest button over, so I'll measure from here to here, find out what that is, and that's where I'll put my joystick on this side. And then I've already put my tape up here, and I'll just use the top edge of that and then tape it down, and I think that's what we'll do. I've got a soldering iron here, and it's all heated up and ready to go, so I think that's how I'm going to make my marks in this Formica, just burn a hole in it. So let me measure that first before I go burn anything. So this is 3 15/16, so almost 4 inches, so that's okay. Let's see if I can do this without burning myself. I think this will just burn right into the Formica, and that'll give me a countersink there, I think. Alright, I'll tell you, these buttons are 30mm buttons and 24mm buttons. These are the ones that go up here, and I didn't have a 30 and a 24mm drill bit, Forstner bit. I've got a set of them, but I don't have any millimeters. They're all standard measurements. So what I did was go to Harbor Freight and bought a it was like $7.99 set of about 4 big paddle bits. I took the 1¼ and the 1⅛ size and grinded them down. And I just took my calipers and, of course, made my measurements and I grinded them down. And anyway, I don't really wouldn't want to use paddle bits on this, but I tried it and it actually works pretty good. So here's the holes, and I just kept working with it until I got it to the right size, and that's going to fit perfect. That's a pretty tight. Got this one just a little tight, but I believe it's still going to work just fine. Yeah, that's going to be a nice tight fit, but it will go. So anyway, because I already had it in and out. So that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to go, we're going to take this out into the metal shop. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Hopefully this doesn't chip the Formica. Like I showed you, I did try it and it didn't. But that's a lot of holes to drill, so hopefully that doesn't get dull. We're going to give it a try. See what we got. Well, I figured out how big I want to make my holes. I think I'm going to make them about 5/8 of an inch. That should be enough for that joystick. But I'm going to drill a real small hole through each one of these so I can find where my center point is on the back, because I want to recess this joystick up in there a little bit. I'm going to probably leave maybe about 1/4 of an inch of material inside there. This comes up from underneath, and because there's just not much clearance there, you know, the thickness of that, I feel like a person's gonna be dragging their knuckles or something if you just mounted it through the full thickness of that, which is 5/8, I think it is. So let's just see what that looks like. See, that's not much. That ain't much room, and I don't like it. So like I say, I'm gonna recess that in where that sets up a lot higher. So as carefully as I can, hopefully I can do this pretty straight. I guess if I'm off a little bit, doesn't matter. But, and the reason I'm using such a small drill bit is because I don't want to, you know, if I use a real big one, that Forstner bit will all track around in there and it won't make a nice pretty hole like we want. So, alright, so I'm going to measure this. That's 2 5/8 width. That's actually about 1/4 of an inch wider than my joystick, but I need the extra 1/8 of an inch for my bushing on my router, so that'll make it just right. And this one's 4 inches, so 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on that side. Same here. Just use the straight edge on my sides here to mark this. Alright, I have already made me a little template, did the same thing and just cut it out with a jigsaw. Got my router set up here. Now this is the same router I was using earlier to trim off our laminate and everything. I just put a different base on, put a plunge base on it. So I can set this on here. I've got my template already set. The plunge base, if you don't already know, you just push that and it plunges down in. So I'll start up high and then take this little thing right here and plunge it right down inside of it, and we'll route it out. I've already got it set. I'm taking about 3/8 of an inch of material away, and that'll leave 1/4 of an inch. This is 5/8 of an inch thick. So, and our clamps clear our base. Really busted it out on the back side. That's terrible. I I did have to clean up these corners just a little bit, so it fits in there pretty nice and tight actually. It's just what I wanted. We'll mark for our holes now. I'm going to measure in 1 inch around this whole thing. So we have 1 inch overhang. I'll lay that box on top of it and make a mark all the way around it so I can drill for my screws that's going to hold the top to the box. I just measured 1 inch in from the corners, and then I measured 1/4 inch in from the edge of the line, because that is a 1/2 inch plywood, so 1/4 inch would be right in the center. I think I'll put, well anyway, they're going to have 2 on the sides. I think I'll just put 2 on the back and 2 on the front. So .34 inches that box is, divided by 3. I don't know, 11 something. Well, it'll be 1133 something, I guess. So I'm not going to get that technical with it. I'm just going to put 11 1/4 from this end and 11 1/4 from that end, and we'll see where we come out. I know 11 1/4 would be about 11.25, so that'll work. Oops, I screwed up. Hold on. Got it on the 1 inch, so I have to put it 12.25. Make sure I don't. Yeah, and that makes it 11 1/2, so that's close enough.